Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. In this channel we're gonna react to whole lot of videos, gaming videos, whatever gaming related. Today we're gonna react to Palworld. So let's jump right into it and see whether or not Palworld, which I heard is like Ark but with Pokemon monsters, is worth it. Let's go.
You've probably seen the crazy clips or trailers out there for Palworld, a vibrant looking open world survival game, but with creature collecting, base building, battling, production lines of pals manufacturing items, and well, of course, the weapons. It's no surprise the game is sort of being memed on as Pokemon but with guns in various comments out there online, but well, it really isn't that. Or at least not just that. And a big thanks to Pocket Pair for providing us with an early copy of the game, so I've managed to play it, sink my teeth into it, and get an understanding of what it's about so I can share my impressions of the game with you guys. I'm gonna try and be fair and honest with my opinion on the game as a standalone thing, rather than comparing it directly to something like Pokemon, because as you'll find out soon enough, it really is something else entirely. I'll start things off with my comments on its performance, because this can be a massive deal breaker for me, and I'm sure many of you guys, especially with it being early access. Honestly, this is one of those rare games that while it is in early access, it runs extremely smoothly, with my experience having none or very little performance issues. Now, I do
Graphic wise, very good looking. Looks good.
have a very high-end PC with an RTX 4080, but I get a consistent 120 FPS while exploring, and the biggest drop that I've had so far was down to around 70 FPS.
Like the game came out, I don't know, a week ago, something like that, a couple of days ago, and I heard that it's fun, but also a time waster of some sort. Like you keep on gathering and all that, and if you're into that kind of games like Ark survival games, then this game is probably for you. But I need more. I need,
while in a menu, which as long as it stays above 60 is very good in my opinion, and certainly rare for an early access game. Now, the graphics definitely aren't groundbreaking, but it is stylized and it's enjoyable to look at for a prolonged gaming session, but I do wish there was more
mounts. That's important.
animations for things such as picking up resources, trees falling down after chopping them, or just visual representations of items like the PAL harnesses that you can craft. Instead, you just grab them and there's no visible harness, even though you have to craft that before you can use them in this way. So overall, the performance is very good and the graphics are just alright. It feels polished in terms of its FPS, but everything else does feel very early accessy with missing animations, odd cutscenes, and some jank in the combat and gameplay. But let me say, if you have a Steam Deck, this game is actually very easy to play on it. It's basically pick up and play. I downloaded it on my Steam Deck just for fun to see if it would work, and I found myself really enjoying it as a handheld experience. Again,
So if you have a Steam Deck and you're traveling a lot, that can be awesome.
and the performance was very good on Steam Deck, so that did kind of shock me. So with some technical talk out of the way, let's talk about what Palworld actually is, because my expectations were definitely way off compared to what the game actually is. If you're expecting this to be a creature collecting game, where you simply go out, collect some monsters, train them up to get stronger and stronger with battling, to then take on bigger and better creatures as you expand out your party, well, it's not really that, or at least that's only a portion of what it is, and it's not the full focus. This is really unlike any other creature collecting game that I've played before, and it really threw me off to begin with. Initially, I was ready to go out and collect some pals, battle them together, and level up, when in reality the game is actually more so a survival game, and so the survival game mechanics and gameplay systems that you would expect come first and foremost. This means the first hours of gameplay won't be just collecting and fighting your creatures to level them up, it will be picking up rocks and wood, building crafting stations to make tools, to then chop down trees and mine rocks, to then build up more and more resources so that you can actually build a base. At the beginning of the game, the creatures in the starting areas are a lot more smaller and basic. They're called pals in this game, by the way, so we'll refer to the creatures as pals from now on. You can just walk up to the pals and start punching them or attacking them with a weapon like a club that you can craft early on, and if you completely off them, then you get some resources and items and even meat that you can cook, because you will have to manage a hunger bar on yourself and your pals in your party. Oddly enough, when defeated, the dead body kind of ragdolls, making for some, well, very interesting interactions, which is not something I thought I would see in a creature collecting game. Of course, you're meant to get their health low so that you can capture them with the pal spears that you can find or craft, which again feeds into the heavy need for resources just like any other survival game. So after a few hours of farming, building up and collecting a few of the basic pals, you really start to see that at least the beginning of the game is less so about collecting and battling and more so about the survival aspects of gathering resources and building. At least this is until you get later in and having actual functionality to make self-sustaining bases. This is because all of
bases, building. What do I build for?
advice is to temper expectations away from a pure creature collecting experience and more so into the survival genre, with games like Ark Survival Evolved or even Rust really being more so similar. Think of the pals more like your workforce, even though it really does feel quite wrong to say it. That being said, once you get past those initial building up stages, the game really does start to open up and shine in its own unique way. Using different pals in combat is fun, with each of them having different elemental attacks, abilities, and even interactions with your player, like I mentioned earlier with this cute little fire guy being basically a literal flamethrower. Collecting new
You can only have like one at a time. That's like... wonder if it opens up as you level up.
pals is really fun as you figure out what they can do for your base,
Like one pal at a time.
or if there'll be a new member of your actual party for combat or traversal, because you can ride and even fly them, making map traversal so much better. There's also special bigger raid pals with higher stats, shiny pals to find, and different traits that you get on them when you capture them. With systems like chain catching the same pals back to back giving you bonus XP, the actual systems of these pals are pretty fleshed out, and again, they are more so like AI NPC buddies for your base than actual creatures that you sort of care for and level up and travel through the game with. Your player character actually has a vital role in combat too, and it's basically a third-person shooter in that respect, where you can shoot bows, guns, even RPGs, you can dodge and use melee weapons as well. And you will need to use these weapons not just in POW battles, but also in base raids, because yes, in single player, your base will still get attacked, so you'll need to set up defenses and protect your hard built-up base. There's also co-op in the early access, and I believe there isn't going to be PvP just yet, so I'm not sure if that is coming and there will be PvP base raids, I don't really know, but for now it is single player or co-op, which is still pretty fun. But is it all fun and games? Well, if you can get past the starting hours of pretty generic resource gathering, then the game really does shine as you start getting more and more invested in the different pals and collecting them. That being said, we do have to address the developer's track record, particularly Craftopia, which is another survival action game from Pocket Pair, which released into early access in 2020 and, well, is still in early access. It's not a game that I've played for myself, but looking at the overall reviews on Steam, it is marked as mostly positive, but there are a lot of reviews and upset comments online, with people claiming the game is underwhelming for how long it's been in early access, and that it doesn't look like it will be releasing into a full game anytime soon. So I guess there is potential for... It's one of the most unique titles that I think I've ever played. If you enjoy the sort of gathering resources, building a base, and capturing all of these...
Alright, so we've seen all we needed to see. If you're into, exactly as he said, into that kind of games like Ark, so this game is for you. For me, I don't like that resource gathering all that much, but it's very unique. And what can I say? I'm a Pokemon lover. So I'm gonna buy and play this game, and I'm gonna upload something interesting from it. I don't know, like the boss fights or not the building around. And I hope I'm gonna be able to invest, because it takes a lot of discipline to maintain that base, as it seems. And that's it. If you have any game in mind that I should try, please let me know. It's our community, And that's what I want it to be, not just mine. I need your help discovering more titles to react to and play. Thank you so much for being you. I'm gonna see you in the next video. Thank you and goodbye.